Senator Aaron Cheriot. So this Kibra by-election, it's not really about the Kibra voters depicted here by Victor in the Daily Nation today. It's all about the muscle.
I do not think that is accurate, because while that is what us non-Kibra people would wish to reduce it to, I think to the Kibra voter,
Yes.
it's not about Raila Odinga, William Ruto, Musalia Mudavadi, and the likes. I think for them, it's about identifying who can be their representative in parliament. And I say this because I don't live very far from here, and sometimes occasionally, especially in the last few days, I find time to stroll through this particular place or get to mingle. I have a few friends who come from this constituency.
Yeah.
People that I play football with over the weekend, or some that we play football with this gentleman called Otienda Amolo every Tuesday evening. And sometimes after our match, we get to delve into politics a bit. And when you hear the expectations and the decision-making process, it's to them, it's about who is best suited for this job. But unfortunately, as things are in Kenya, it's always reduced to the prism of what does Raila want, what does William Ruto want, as has been the last, for the better part of this year and last year. Almost for every national issue, there's an attempt by the media, and you guys need to self-regulate, because I don't think it's healthy for the country, into a Ruto, Raila debate, which I don't think aids, or because it introduces certain feelers into an otherwise good discussion. Because if you look at even now the debate on BBI, referendum, public debt, all these issues of national concern, this is what you guys always reduce it to. I do not think there'll be a Kibra voter who will go to vote saying, what does William Ruto want? What does Raila Odinga want? Of course, there are people, they are among our topmost politicians. So of course they have influence in this part of the country as well.
Thank you.
Maybe there might be a few people who would be swayed, but I think to the majority of Kibra voters, they listen to each of these candidates trying to see who best represents their aspirations.
Right. Let's say from Boni Khalwale, and yes, looking at the biceps there, it seems as we put it, we have Aaron Cheriot saying this is not really, so to speak, a tournament between William Ruto or these other parties, as the media is trying to, shove this particular perception down our throats. What is your perception as far as the muscles? It's not really about the voter. Is it about just the party politics as it is? So because this is maybe a bellwether of 2022.
I think the designer got it right by making a huge biceps for Honorable Raila Odinga, because it has come from his own mouth that the election has nothing to do with identifying a leader for the people of Kibra. He has said that it is all about him, and confirmed that a vote for the ODM candidate would be a vote for him. So there he's right. But as far as ANC and Jubilee are concerned, they are far removed from that, because it is clear from our own pronouncements and the pronouncements of the party and the pronouncements of our candidate that we are looking for a candidate who fits the shoes of Ken Okoth.
Yes.
Ken Okoth, who had departed from the DNA of ODM by choosing to go for development rather than pursuing politics of praising their party leader, and politics of violence, and politics of throwing stones. So if anybody wants to doubt, or if he needed to confirm that ODM has nothing to do with the development of the people of Kibra, see what they did on Sunday. On Sunday, they went and stoned Honorable Musalia Mudavadi at Kamkunji grounds, and they moved on and went to Bohongo grounds and stoned Honorable Etangula's candidate, Butichi, which has nothing to do with articulating a development agenda. I call upon the people of Kibra to call it bluff and ensure that the ODM candidate, and especially their party leader, is taught a lesson that he cannot be exercising his own muscles at the expense of a desire to develop a constituency that so much needs development. A constituency which he led for 25 years, during which the only legacy he left was that which he did not do.
That which he did not do. Right. So do you agree with what is being projected here by Boni Khalwale Otinda Molo as far as this by-election is concerned? You say Kibra is ODM and ODM is Kibra. That was your slogan before you left the podium on Sunday.
Thank you. Welcome back, Diba.
Thank you.
I think it's a good point to start. And before I comment on this, let me wish the candidates, KCP candidates nationally, but particularly in Rarieda, success. We are having certain challenges, and I'm happy that the government says it has confirmed it will fly the exams whenever it's necessary, because one of the main bridges in my constituency collapsed with the heavy rains, and we're in engagement with Kera to fix it. Secondly, there's the story in terms of the former President Moi's illness.
Yes.
Whatever it is, I think we must wish him, good health and good luck. Because whether you agree with these policies or you don't, because that's a different matter,
yes,
he's one of our former president and one of our founding fathers, so we must wish him that. And lastly, is also to condole with the family of the late Achieng' Oneko, who lost the matriarch, Mama Lois Anyango Oneko, and who will be buried this coming weekend on 2nd. That done, it is interesting that we start with a cartoon, and you ask Dr. Boni Khalwale to comment about the cartoon, and he runs away from it and says things about Kibra that he knows nothing about, because he was not there, casting aspersions in terms of what happened on Sunday and all that. And I'm happy to discuss that when it comes to it, because I was there. There's absolutely no truth that ODM caused any violence or threw any stones, because I was there, but I'll discuss that when it comes to it. Just coming to the question of the cartoon, I see three things. First, I see that in the view of the cartoonist, the biggest biceps of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, followed by DP Ruto and ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi. And that is a good depiction, because the truth is ODM is way ahead in Kibra. But the second thing I notice is of the candidate. While the ODM candidate is depicted as smiling, the Jubilee candidate is sneering. And the ANC candidate is nowhere. I don't know why the cartoonist...
He's a bump there,
yeah? That's just very interesting. The third thing I noticed is while, Raila is depicted as, showing determination in the face, and the ANC leader is smiling, the deputy president is crying, which is a usual thing. The only thing they didn't depict here is what is actually happening. I thought they should have depicted the DP with hordes and hordes of money, because that's what is dishing out in Kibra, and with some tight security, because he invaded Kibra with some mercenary, looking individuals, and in a helicopter, a place that you can drive in 5 minutes. He took a helicopter, and going up and down by helicopter takes longer.
Is there a helipad there in the Kibra?
Well, he must have landed on top of those, houses that are semi-informal, that he says that they need to improve. I think that the depiction is largely correct, because while Kibra was always about the elections to whoever will succeed the late Ken Okoth, certain people have made it to be more than about the elections. They've made it to be a focus on 2022. And the Jubilee candidature, for example, which Dr. Boni Khalwale, I am sure, was instrumental in bringing up, is about, can we see how far we can go in Kibra specifically and Nairobi generally with his formation. And so for them, it's a trial in terms of how to enter Nairobi. That is why they chose Mariga, who, in their own words, being a lawyer, could come and capture the Luya vote away from the, Raila and the Luos, not forgetting that in Nairobi, there has never, and in Kibra, there has never been that tribal faction. It is also true that some of the other parties, including ANC, including Ford Kenya, have selected their candidate based on that focus. So it is largely true. And so when Raila comes back and says that it's not just about Bernard Okoth, it's not just about the late Ken Okoth, it's also about the ODM and my own legacy. It is ultimately true because the other parties have made it so.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's hear from Jacob Medio.
Good morning, Dibal.
Morning
Let me also take this opportunity to wish all our candidates good luck. Ken, you know, the Kibra constituency or the larger Langata has always been part of the national debate because of who has been the MP in the name of Raila Odinga.
Yes.
And I think many people were voting there because of their hero, who was seen largely to be their defender against the government. Ken Okoth introduced a new brand of politics in Kibra. And the new brand had to do with I can build a road, I can build a school, I can do those things. So now what most of us are watching and have watched for the last 2 months was the candidates trying to say what they can do to replace Ken. And I think the way the ODM party reacted is natural. These people went there and changed the debate. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it is wrong to say that it is Raila versus the rest of people at his level, so to speak. Because that is, what is politics? Politics is Musalia and the numbers, Raila and the numbers. That the other political parties even had the audacity and the courage to have candidates in Kibra is something that requires some scholarly thinking. Because maybe the people are listening different. That they are there. The only thing I abhor, because I think that place is ODM's own, generally. It will take a long time to do what I think was being attempted. But the only thing I abhor is this thing of stone throwing. Because why throw stones at people and deny it? What I want to advise the ODM party, discipline the stone throwers. Tell them the Kenya we want is one where there is change. Where there is change, where a dormitory means something, where a primary school means something. That is what we did when we were there in our constituencies. So personally, I understand the reaction. I understand where the power is. But please, be peaceful. In the 21st century, I don't think you can force us with trying to love you by caning us or by stoning us. You are just destroying property. Remember, I was in this show a couple of years ago when I was stoned in Siaya. Mm-hmm. In fact, we were very lucky to have survived that broad daylight stoning. Mm-hmm. It was political, and I hate that thing. You see these people, they go there. Those boys who stone people cannot do it without assistance of senior politicians.
Yes.
Of course. It never happens. It is just not true, and I think it is nothing to be happy about. That's not our country.
All right, back to the cartoon also. As you've mentioned, I think you've not also talked about what is happening with this particular bump with the Musalia Mudavadi. Is it because their candidate is not well known as or familiar with the people or the residents of Kibra as it is right now?
I think to be fair to the cartoonist, one needs to also visit the Star. The Star is exactly the same cartoon, and he seems to be carrying the same message.
The same message.
Only that in the Star page
Page 3.
Page 3.
Page 3 of the Star.
Yeah, the only difference that in the Star,
Mariga
they have
is
also
ahead.
spoken to the same about Mudavadi by making his hand to be crooked. I don't know.
Weak.
No, look at the shape of that hand. Is it a hand or? Yeah?
This is the Star, if we just pick it. The cartoon there, the Kibra contest is taking shape.
Exactly.
Yeah, those are the ships.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes.
All right. So, what are you alluding to?
I think they are confirming that the race is between ODM and Jubilee. Yeah, that's why in the first one, in the one of the nation, they are not giving Mudavadi a chance. His candidate is not coming out, and in this one, his candidate is coming out, but from a crooked upper
hand.
limb, so to speak. Is it really a limb or a tail?
So who is this?
The other one is Raila.
I mean, somebody just to help me to, you know.
Surely, Dr. Khalwale. tails don't emerge from the upper torso. Seriously, that is just unfair. But having said that, there's something, I'm wondering if this cartoonist compared notes. Because there are two things I still notice here.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about what Khalwale said. First, there's still both the NC leader and Raila are smiling, and the deputy president is crying. What is this consistent crying of the deputy president? I mean, does he cry that much? Secondly, there's still
tell us.
I mean, Khalwale should tell us, what is the deputy president always crying about? You know, secondly, your candidate again is nearing here. I mean, what is this consistency? I think
Aaron Cheriot, why is the deputy president always in a whippy mode?
I don't think on this cartoon he's in a whippy mode. Actually, on this cartoon, he's
muscle.
surprised that they are doing this well in Kibra.
that is
You
the
know,
phase of
you know,
surprise.
initially we were told Kibra is someone's bedroom. But if you saw the kind of crowd that Jubilee had on Sunday, it confirms to you that the bedroom has been raided. So what is remaining is for the wife to be taken away. And
I want to agree. I want to agree with Otieno.
Secondly, I think Vic, this guy, Ozone 19, actually captures it well that Mariga is way ahead, because if you compare the muscle of the DP vis-a-vis that one of Raila Odinga, you can see they're trying. Even Jacom is squinting. He can't believe that he's trying to pull all his powers, but Imran is not responding the way he expected him to
No,
respond.
but
Little wonder then that ODM goes to Kibra. And you know, Otiende, you need to advise your friends like your minority whip, Junaid Mohammed, and Sumra, that the kind of pronouncements they are making in Kibra, if we had a functional office of a DPP and DCI, they would actually have been charged by this particular time. Inciting to violence is a crime, you know, and the kind of things they are saying that, oh, you should go and ban who, you should do the following. Those are acts of desperation, and it doesn't augur well. You can't come to TV and seek to argue that ODM is Kibra. If it is Kibra, then why unleash violence on your opponents?
Dibal, can we talk about this? Because both Aaron and Dr. Khalwale have spoken about this, about violence. But first, Aaron Cheriot, you are the last man to advise people about utterances. Nobody utters more inflammatory remarks than yourself.
Well,
Lately, you've even overtaken Senator Murkomen. Just this last week, you were in a place saying, oh, the government must not play with us. Sisi sio kama wale watu wa kurusha mawe na kungoja tear gas. Which people are you talking about? You utter inflammatory remarks, and please don't sit here to pretend you can sit in some moral high ground and advise. You should be the first one in jail. Just wait. By now you should be in jail, because you are calling some communities to throwers and waiting for tear gas and threatening government. In fact, I don't even know what you are doing in this show. You should be behind bars. I should be representing you right now, and I can confirm to you, once you are arrested, I will come and represent you and advise you against such utterances. Let us talk about violence.
Oh, yes,
You know,
talking about violence.
I was actually in Kibra,
Yes.
and I want to tell you what actually happened. It is not true, gentlemen, and if you are courageous, you should have been there. It is not true that the ODM incited anyone or threw any stones. I will tell you, first of all, the ODM went to Buhungu grounds. Now, the Ford Kenya candidate, I think, by virtue of that surrounding, had decided that that is his sacred ground, and ODM has no business going there. I can tell you that the stones were thrown at us as we were going there. I personally arrived a few minutes after Raila and the entourage had arrived.
Yes.
And I can tell you that if it were not that those people recognized me, they would have beaten me up. Those other candidates, they had rained they had rained stones on the ODM party as it was entering, and so they had to be repulsed simply because they did not want those grounds to be used. I think the moral of the story, and I agree with all my colleagues on this, in this day and age, there is no reason to throw any stones, including grounds.
Amen.
Grounds, people use grounds for a very short time. No rally ever lasts more than 2 hours. You can actually have 5 parties use the same ground. So they didn't want ODM to use those grounds because it was the first landing point, although the main rally was at Lainisaba. And so we were there for actually less than 40 minutes. So we were rained with stones. And I was personally, they almost assaulted me, but they said, lakini wewe tunakujua. Kama tungekujua ungeona. You know, those are not ODM people. Secondly, let me just explain, Senator Aaron Cherot. Secondly, on our way to Lainisaba,
Yes.
by the way, we passed near Lindi, where Jubilee was holding its rally.
Yes.
If ODM was about disruptions, they would have disrupted the Lindi rally. They didn't.
Because you
If you look at the and I can show you that, if you look at the coverage, when now we were passing and it was a big multitude, those who had gone to the Jubilee rally, hoping that they would be given money the way they're always given every morning in the DP's house, then realized that now the main rally was on. They came running, and what Aaron is calling a mammoth crowd, I don't know where he gets that from, because it fizzled to a trickle. All of them came with us to Lainisaba. And if they were so confident, why didn't the DP snake his way through Kibra the way we did? Why come flying? Because it's fearful. They don't have supporters there. They feel that they had to bring could not protect them. And so we went to Lainisaba and it was completely peaceful. The issue, and I also condemn the idea that the ANC party and candidate and leader was stoned. It is not a good thing.
It is not.
But they were not stoned. But the ODM members were at Lainisaba. We were having a rally. So what should be inquired into is who is this who is trying to mar the campaigns in Kibra this last minute by introducing these pockets of violence. That is something that should be looked at. But it's not about ODM.
It's not about ODM. Could we get to Senator Aaron Cheroral's Jacomidio? Then we, yeah.
Okay.
You know, violence is not a good thing. And I saw a whole host of ODM politicians condemning Aisha Juma. In fact, I saw ODM party leader even go to the funeral of the deceased. So let us just all agree, as we all have agreed, that violence is no recipe in our politics. When you, but it is the leaders creating it, like I said, because my good senator here on Saturday, what Tiende has alluded to, and Tiende just took the words out of my mouth. What Tiende has not said about the utterances of Senator Harun is what he did not say. What he did not say. And I think we must be all advised, because my good brother, in this issue of Mao, some of us share your feelings.
But I think you
But
actually are going off the rails.
No, I'm not going off the rails, because he said, it's a very important debate, that they are not those people that just throw stones and wait for tear gas. But he was telling government something, that there's something worse they can do. Something worse they can do. When politicians are given that kind of airtime, and the government is supposed to wait for you to do something worse, what is it? To bomb NIS or to hit police headquarters? What is that thing that you are encouraging. And I took my time to listen to the crowd. The crowd was cheering. We should use our opportunity as a people to tell our people that violence has no space.
All right. So let's hear from you, Aaron Cherio. Do you think also you reacted in the wisest of fashion in letting all these words really trip off your tongue?
Two things.
You know, agitating the crowd.
Two things that I want to say. First on Kibra, then second I'll react to what Otiende and Jacoy are trying to say. You should not allow Otiende to frolic and mislead the public that what he's trying to explain away justifies what Junet Mohammed and Ishrad Sumra, Babu Owino, and this gentleman from Dagoretti, Simba Arati, said 2 weekends ago in Kibra. That is what we are trying to refer to. And of course he knows it. But he's choosing to mislead the public and not mention a single thing about the utterances that they made about being specific, killing an individual whose name they gave out to the crowd as a crowd cheered, and banning a specific house, a government property that they went ahead and named. So for him to try and come and mislead, speak about Sunday as if he doesn't know. Of course, those people have been tuned to think in that particular way. That is what they have been told over time, that when you see so and so, please go away and hit him. And even if this issue that he's trying to raise is just being cheeky about it. If the DP was coming into the city from Nyeri, where he had engagements earlier on in the morning, why go all the way to Wilson or JKIA, where he needs to land, then drive back to Kibra, as opposed to landing where he's supposed to be? So I can give you an assurance that he will be back and he will drive, if that is what you want to use as a measure. And by the way, Otiende, why the panic? Why try to demean the size of crowd that they had if for sure you believe that you are way ahead? Why don't you wait for August 7th? Then if you confirm to us that November 7th that you reign supreme in Kibra, we'll be happy with you. But given the kind of panic that you guys are engaged in, then it confirms to us that indeed there's a problem in the bedroom. Secondly, on this particular issue, first of all, I am taken aback because I never mentioned any single community. So for Otiende to try and insinuate that there is a community of stone thrower and tear gas awaiters in this country, he needs to tell us
Which community were you mentioning?
I never said any community.
Those were your words.
No.
Yes.
So who?
But
I've
listen,
also not mentioned any.
Just a moment.
I am talking about protesters. When protesters come in communities.
You
They are
said we are not those people.
community.
Yes.
Let's
I
be
never said
clear.
community.
No.
I said Wale Watu.
Yes.
What do you mean? Wale Watu is a specific community. I'm talking about protesters. Listen, I'm very clear in my mind about the things I was saying. I was talking about violence versus non-violence means of protesting. That's why I said when we do our thing, we will bring the country to a standstill. Mahatma Gandhi brought India to a standstill. Did he use any violence? Martin Luther King, he brought America back to his senses. Did he use violence? That's why I said we are not like those who protest by throwing stones and engaging in the kind of games. We have means that we can use that will bring the country to a standstill. So for you to try and explain that is violence, for sure, it can only be violence if violence is what is in your mind. Violence is what is in the mind of Otiende. That's why he imagines that for anyone to achieve the kind of traction that I'm trying to build,
Yes.
you can only do that through violence. That is not what I said. And I never incited anyone to violence.
All right.
So Otiende, please spare me your lectures.
All right.